Hello and welcome to Algebra Unit 1-2 Lesson 1. Today's objective is scholars will create linear functions. Make sure that you are taking notes. So first of all, what is a linear function? Just a quick review. So when it is graphed, it is a line. So look over here, you see that we have a line. This is a linear function. Functions are linear because they have a constant rate of change. The constant rate of change is also called the slope. So remember that slope is a ratio that can be written as rise over run, is what we talk about sometimes. But it is change in y divided by change in x, vertical change divided by horizontal change, or the actual formula for slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, where you have 2 points, xy and xy. So how can we create linear functions? So first, we write equations to represent situations where there is a constant rate of change. So we can write an equation to represent that constant rate of change. We can write them in slope-intercept form, that is y equals mx plus b. Or we can write them in standard form, something like ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c are all different integers. Both of those are linear. They are part of the definition of what a linear equation looks like. Either one of those are linear. Any equation that's linear can be rewritten into either of those formats. So you can write it either way if it is a linear equation. So let's look at an example. Okay, so a taxi driver charges $2.25 for you to get into the car, and then 75 cents per mile driven. Write a function to represent this situation, and then graph it. So, we're just going to worry about writing the function right now. How do I write that? What is the rate of change here? Well, the rate of change is going to be something that is per. So in this case, the rate of change is 75 cents per mile. So the rate of change is going to be 0.75. Rewrite that 0.75 was my rate of change. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is our starting point. It is the very beginning. So in this case, our y-intercept is this $2.25 charge just for getting into the car. $2.25. So then to write our function, remember that we're going to write this in y equals mx plus b. M is your rate of change. B is your starting point. So I can write this as y equals 0.75, my rate of change, times x, plus 2.25. So once you've found your rate of change and your y-intercept, you're just filling them in for m and b in your equation. Okay, so now let's talk about what happens if I'm given a table instead. So how could I find the rate of change? So remember, it is change in y divided by change in x. So I can choose any 2 points. So I'm going to choose this point, and to make my math a little easier, I'm going to choose this point. So change in y divided by change in x. So I've got 3875 minus 1375 over 15 minus 5. So 3875 minus 1375 is going to give me 15. No, I lied. 25. 25 over 10, which also can be written as 2.5. Okay, so my rate of change is 2.5. So I've got my rate of change, my m equals 2.5. So now I need to use my rate of change to find the y-intercept. Because you'll notice my y-intercept is the value of y the value of y when x is 0, but I do not have a 0 value of x anywhere on here. So I have to use something else to find this. So remember that right now I have y equals 2.5 times x plus something. This is what I'm looking for, is my b. Well, I have several different values that I can plug in here to try to figure this out. I'm going to plug in a set of xy values. I'll plug in, let's say, this one. So I know 51.25, my y, equals 2.5 times 20 plus whatever b is. So 2.5 times 20 gives me 50. So I have 51.25 equals 50 plus b. If I subtract 50 from both sides, I get 125 equals b. Well, now I know what b is. I already knew what m was, so now I can write my equation. My equation is y equals, my m was 2.5 x plus my b was 1.25. And that's my equation. It's that simple. If you're looking at your graph, sometimes they'll give you an x value of 0, and then you just plug in that corresponding y value. But if you don't have the x value of 0, this is what you do. You plug in one of the points. Plug in one of the points for your x and y to figure out what b is. Okay, so go ahead and try these in class, and I will see you if you have any questions.